And what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? And what a fantastic week of sideways action. Am I right? It was a rough week, but if you haven't noticed why I actually started to buy in on this market, you're going to want to stick through this whole video. I will hit on some particular plays that I am looking at and looking to really focus on. But we're going to get into some real deep fundamentals, I think, here that are going to explain kind of what I've been thinking about and how it's essentially my thought process has really changed over the past week and a half. But being said, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So there is a couple things I actually want to bring up. Yes, this Sunday review for the week is going to be a little different because I want to bring up some stuff that I want you guys to see. If you guys haven't checked out any of my other videos, I've kind of brought this up before, but ultimately I want to bring up the United States personal savings rate. Now, why is this important and why should it matter? Well, considering since the pandemic of starting of last year, right, we have seen some of the biggest savings rates in a very, very long time, right? I mean, going back to the max, we've never seen, I mean, the max back in, in the 70s, it looks like, was at one point close to 20. But pandemic has really put us at those that essentially retesting all-time highs on savings rate, right? You look at that. Now, what does that even matter? It has come down, yes. I think now that the pandemic and everything has kind of been becoming part of the norm, right? Their savings rate is still extremely high, but as of December, it is still at 13.7. People are starting to save up for that cold winter in case this whole virus thing starts getting out of control again, right? Correct. Being said, this week is going to be extremely crucial on this stimulus package. The market is already flooded with money. Savings rate is at 13.7, which is extremely high. I've talked about this in some of my other videos and why this is extremely important. Another different, so keep that in mind, right? Look at the savings rate is at 13.7. I'm sure at right now, being February of this recording of 2021, I'm sure it is also probably extremely high at this point because you're talking about dead of winter right now. So people can't go anywhere. Savings is even being stored away even more. Big thing to consider here, and what I've really been looking at in the market in itself has not been selling off. It wants to, and then it gets caught and stuck. People are looking for assets to obtain, waiting this inflation, and this is something I've been talking about all week. You got inflation, right? It is going to eventually happen. Now, some of the rates have started slowly creeping back up. They say that the rates have increased more than they have been in a while. I think it's increased by 0.28, excuse me. We're not jumping at 2 point anything at this point, but it is slowly increasing. What does that mean? People are looking for assets. The cheapest asset you can get is the stock market, stocks and stock markets. Depending what platform you're on, you can buy fractions of shares. Being said, people are loading the boat now. This is why we're not getting any crazy sell-off. Again, March could prove me wrong. My original theory was we are going into March, we're going to have some kind of correction. Now I'm really starting to wonder how much of a correction is that really going to take, right? We've taken like 2%, 5%. I think, again, a week ago, we took what, like I think it was close to like a 6 or 7% correction. I think these are some of the biggest corrections we're going to see. That being said, looking at the macro of what is about to happen, cue my next news article coming up here. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Let me pull up this next one that I got here. Share screen. Let me see. Just be patient with me. Let's see. Now, this is the other article I wanted to pull up. This week is Bidenomics, getting ready for Biden boom. Why is this important? This is going back to the whole thing about what I'm talking about. We already have tons of money in the market. It has nowhere to go, right? People are still afraid. People are still waiting for winter to finish. Being said, spring is around the corner. Yeah, we might get a little bit of a correction in March, but if I believe in my mind, this is purely a fundamental play. I've been purely started soaking more into the fundamentals on this because of what is about to happen. And looking at this article, right, the biggest thing coming down to this article, where was it at? I was looking at here. Let's see, GDP, okay. Economists raise rates, the forecast GDP growth. February, Federal Reserve, first estimate GDP growth has jumped from 6.7 to 8.3. Forecasting firm capital full-year GDP growth is 6.5 in 2021, which could be the strongest since 1984. There is no recession. Congressional Budget Officer Director Douglas Holtz-Itkin, however you say his name. The economic growth is strong. I have to understand that the numbers are strong. This market getting more money, this thing is going to accelerate this thing. Being said, everybody talks about a crash. Yes, I think eventually this is going to create a big crash, a big correction at some point. Soon, I do not believe so. Again, this is not financial advice, but in my mind, I am playing this purely as a active investor at this point. This is purely fundamentals, right? I am not day trading this. I'm not swinging this because of the fact that my capital is going based off of this. My capital is going based off of what is about to happen. If you are not buying stocks that you have high conviction in at this point, I think, coming after March into April, May, into the summer, our economy is going to boom and we're going to have a huge amount of money being thrown every which way into innovation, being thrown into restaurants, into a bunch of different things, right? Into Disney, into into flights. People are going to get out, right? People are slowly getting over this. So now that winter is starting to die down, right? And we are going into March. We get new stimulus. The checks will be out hopefully maybe mid-March-ish, right? I know the checks, they're talking about the checks trying to be issued. I mean, that's something I don't follow that close, but I know this week we should get word on that. When that happens, I think a lot of you want to say it's being priced in. Yes, I think some of it gets priced in, but ultimately, I think we're really going to explode here. And this year is just going to be a ridiculous year, right? And my plays are based off of this fundamental thing, right? Another historical moment about ready to happen, and we're going to explode. Will there be a correction? Will there be a crash? There can always be a crash. There can always be a black swan. Right now, fundamental-wise, everything is solid, right? There is nothing out there that is really scaring this market. People are searching for assets. They have money. Where will their money go, right? They get this new stimulus. It's going to, I think, put a huge influx back into the market, right? You're going to have all this money, people buying and buying and buying because they're trying to attain assets, waiting for that rate and waiting for ultimately the rate increases. At that point, it could get nasty, right? I'm not going to lie. At that point, I think it could get nasty at that point. At what point does that happen? Does that happen in October? Does that happen in December, going into December of this year? Does that happen early next year? Maybe we're looking at a major correction. Not saying that there won't be one this year, right? There's always a good correction every year, right? That's being said, but I think building into this October, right? I think my idea is October, because October is just kind of a bad month in general, leading into the Christmas rally. But being said, Purely fundamental here. Looking at October, I think we're just going to explode. The growth is going to explode. People are going to start going back to work and have all this money, have all these assets. This will be the year that I think a lot of people separate themselves and make a huge year. You see a lot more millionaires in this market because of this push. Last year was a good push. If you bought the dip, yes, you could have made a lot of money, and you're wondering, well, man, if I could ever make more money again, right? I think now is the time. Now is the time to reload and get ready for this very historical push. With this influx of money, the virus going away, people are going to spend. This market is going to fly. At some point, it will correct, yes, but I don't see that in the future. Again, risk management. This is what I'm doing. This is for purely entertainment purposes only. I am just giving you guys my thought process on what I've been building up to, what I've been seeing in the market over the past week and a half, and ultimately what I truly believe is going to happen in the next couple of months. And that's why a lot of my technicals, I've been trying to grab at good supports. And when it goes down to another good support, I want to buy more on the stocks that I have high conviction in. Now, being said, I'm trying to eliminate stocks that I may be curious about, but I want to look instead at and focus on primarily like 3, 4, possibly even 5 stocks I have high conviction in, and add. If there's any kind of correction coming into next month, I will add, right, on those corrections, on those strong supports. Because I think once this thing starts flying, right, you're going to wish you bought when it was red. In my opinion, you're going to wish you bought. Fundamental wise, you're going to look back and wish you bought. Now, it can be painful for some of those people that day trade, right? I day trade, I do it now again, but I've definitely learned that, you know, you can get caught in the weeds in macro, right? I've essentially labeled that as a macro trader, right? Because you make the bigger gains on the macro and not the micro, right? That's what I meant. So switch those words up. In the micro, you can get destroyed, or you can. It's a much harder game in the micro, right? But in the macro, fundamental wise, I think if we're not buying on these dips, buying on this correction, whatever kind of correction we are getting, again, watching the market is very strong. If you haven't noticed that when we dip, it turns around and is getting bought up. And all this more influx of money, a lot of people are getting into the market. This influx of money is looking for assets. People know, people are starting to recognize, people are starting to get educated on what is about to happen because of the fear of inflation. The fear of inflation is going to drive this market to incredible highs. Now that I'm off my soapbox, that was a good 10-minute rant or so in there. But I guess I could go ahead and pull up the charts and kind of run through on what I'm looking at this week. And again, talk about those high conviction stocks that I'm looking at this week and foreseeable future, right? I think right now I'm really just being patient, watching the markets and not buying into the short-term movements, right? Yes, it may correct 5-10%, but ultimately what is about to happen, I think, is what you need to pay attention to, not in the micro. If you're worried about if you do zones like I do and you're worried about, oh, I'm just going to play this and scalp this, there are bigger plays, right? If you can be patient and play this out, I think there will be bigger plays coming. Being said, let's go ahead and let's get into the charts. SPY, right? SPY has just been holding sideways. A lot of these major ones, I've talked about big tech holding, but one thing I did notice is this, right? We have held this 20. There was this wedge. We broke down, retesting this, leading into a week in which we are supposed to get stimulus checks signed. Funny how that works, huh? But being said, I know people are talking about a crash. They're talking about, I know real estate has been another big one that was an issue before the pandemic crash. Being said, I still don't see it. I still see us just pushing, at least in the next couple months, right? That's what I'm aiming for in the next 6 months. Correction in there. Yeah, I think there'll be some kind of correction in there, but in my mind, I think you are buying on those corrections. You are establishing initial positions now, buying on the dips because of what is about to happen. Again, in my mind, purely fundamental. Okay, being said, I keep jumping on that horse, sorry. So SPY, it's looking good coming into this week. QQQ, what is QQQ looking like? It's still holding the 20, again, breaking. I could draw the same exact channel here on QQQ. Retesting the trend line. Great support. Setting up again for a good week of news stimulus. Right, that's not saying that we get stimulus and we start rocketing up, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we get stimulus. In the short term, I'm looking like the next month, the way things are looking, again, everything is looking extremely strong. Fundamentals looking extremely strong here. This month, right, or this week, we still got earnings. We still got Square. We still got a couple other earnings going on this week. But being said, I think if we get stimulus this week, we go back to all-time highs, right? We still push up. March may bring some kind of correction. We come back and retest this 337 mark, right, for the previous all-time highs, because I think we're going to break all-time highs here. Come back and retest. That might be our correction. Maybe get a little bit more. At that point, we are loading more on, right? We are continuing to load. Maybe you load and all-time highs you cut out and look for that correction and get back in. That may be a good thing. Ultimately, I think in my mind, what I want to do is when we push up, I might liquidate some of my other more like curious penny stocks and stuff like that. And then again, reallocate those funds into my high conviction trades for the year, right? If you have a recovery stock, again, mine primarily growth, things like Tesla, PLTR, right? NNDM, I think very good butcher, right? I think renewables, all those are going to explode. I think they're also going to have plays on restaurants. You're also going to have plays on concert venues, events, right? I think all these things are going to have tremendous explosion. Trying to capture the best one, right? I think you won't really miss this opportunity, right? As long as you are in the market, I think you will be perfectly fine. Again, I am trying to aim for the ones that are going to do the most damage this year. Again, Tesla, everybody knows about Tesla. I think Tesla's got tons of great stuff. Being a renewable helps in all that space. I think also being in the United States, I think there will be more things coming off of that that we are not seeing. Again, taking away from the cars and looking at Tesla as a pure energy play. I think there will be a lot more opportunities that are not being shown in the current hand, right? Again, everything looking good this week. TLT is just bombing, right? It's trying to find a bottom. I think it'll be a while. I think this will be a phenomenal play as well, right? I think going into TLT, ultimately may be a play, but I think as of right now, I think it's just, again, trying to find a bottom here. But we're going to have to see. TLT is one of those things I want to keep on deck and kind of be watching as this whole thing starts to play out throughout the year. Again, SPY looks good. Tesla still holding. Kathy Wood bought more Tesla on Friday. If you don't know, you can always go up to ARK Invest. You know, they put out a daily newsletter of their activity. Tesla was just bought again. Planter was bought on Thursday, and also More U was purchased on Friday as well. So that is also one of my high conviction plays as well this year. Being said, I would like to primarily focus on Tesla, Planter, NNDM being primaries. I still like Planet 13. I still like the Very Good Butcher. I think those I'm trying to limit it down to those particular ones. I do have a Fastly leap. I do have some random leaps. What I might do is the ones that I still have a pretty good conviction in. I probably want to buy leaps at these points, on these pullbacks, and then ultimately focus on the bigger shares and stuff, the bigger positions I am taking on ones like again, a Tesla or PLTR or a U, or you can even possibly play the Disney play with the parks and stuff like that. But I think there will be bigger moves in other applications. Just saying, Airbnb, I think will crush it. And I talked about this in the beginning of the year when it IPO'd, that I thought that this one was going to crush it this year. Again, I do want to ultimately get this at a good pullback. If this does have any kind of good pullback, I do want to grab this guy. Looking on the daily, it looks like it's retesting for underneath, which is a good sign from what I'm talking about, because we can get a little bit more of a sell-off here. I think if we can grab it, let's see here, maybe even start looking at it at 170. If we can even get that low on Airbnb, I think, again, I want to get in leaps. We do have earnings coming up on the 25th, which is this month. So that's interesting. I wasn't even watching the earnings on that. Maybe it can correct. That might be our opportunity this week on earnings for Airbnb. Watch Airbnb. Now that I've actually noticed that, I'll be watching, because if they dip on bad earnings, that will be the time to buy leaps on Airbnb, in my mind. Again, not financial advice. But I'm ecstatic right now because this whole thing is unfolding in my brain as I'm speaking. I'm going over the charts with you guys at the same time. But again, this is purely fundamental. Technical wise, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm telling you, fundamental wise, this makes perfect sense. This is going to be a huge year in my mind. Apple, again, we could possibly see another pullback. I'm kind of upset I didn't grab it down here. If we do get another pullback, Apple could be one. Again, I'm trying to watch. I think there's bigger plays in renewable space, right, as opposed to jumping into Apple at this point. Facebook and Apple are always going to be good, and I think they're going to, the market's going to go up. Apple and Facebook are going to go up with it, so you can't go wrong there. BYD this week is selling off again. If you know me, waiting for 110. Etsy can be a huge play. Again, I think a lot of people are going out, so it'd be more, I think, if you are aiming for the next 6 months, it would be a lot of recovery stocks. I think could have some huge plays if that's where you want to go. If you want to do airlines, that's purely on you. That's not where my plays are. I think they're still a little too risky, just depending on what's going on. I'm trying to eliminate risk as much as possible here. So only going, again, for high conviction trades. In my mind, Disney, it's actually starting to consolidate here, which is interesting. So this might actually be good for a leap as well. Parks and whatnot going on this year. Actually, Marvel has tons of stuff coming out this year too. All their movies are starting to come out, all their TV shows. Again, Disney could be huge. Again, right now, everything looks good. So go with something that you've actually done research on, right? Something that you've actually truly worked on here, I think is extremely important because of that fact. And in knowing this, you want to make sure that the trades that you take, you believe in, right? You believe in that company. You're not just taking them because you saw them off of some call-out watch list or anything like that. Even my call-out watch list, don't go off of what I do, right? I do my research on these companies, and that's why I have high conviction in these companies for good reason, right? If you don't have conviction in the companies I'm going with, find one that does, because if you do and you feel like it can, go along with a trend, whether it's the MJ space, whether it's innovation, whether it's the plant-based movement, whatever the case is, right? Go on one of these trends. This year will be a big year. Just be mindful of that. Again, still always manage risks. Anything can happen, right? It could still sell off and you can get totally crushed. Just be aware that, again, your biggest asset here is to remember that you want to not only manage your risk, but it's got to be something that you're, again, interested in. Again, you want to give it as much time as possible. Yes, you might see red. When you are dealing with fundamentals, you will see red. It's one thing to keep in mind. You have to be patient. If you are going to be a fundamental trader, you have to be patient. I play all three of them. Again, this play, seeing what's developing here, this is purely fundamental. And mostly I've started swayed more over fundamental as opposed to technicals, although I still use technicals. I still use technicals for entries, exits, and stuff like that. Again, right now, I'm using technicals purely for entry points to build positions up for what is coming on this fundamental play. Being said, Planter, I've added more a lot onto this, actually. I bought some on this dip here. Again, I will continue to add on these dips. Planter is one of them I want to take. Again, Kathy just purchased a bunch of Planter on Thursday. So again, backing that play. NNDM, I did get in this finally on Friday. I do have a pretty solid position on this. I don't know how much more I'll actually add to this. I think I would like to add more Planter in my mind, but I have a pretty solid position in this one. Again, I think I want to add more into Tesla, Airbnb. Again, Tesla, Airbnb, Planter, NNDM. Again, I have this position. Planet 13 and Very Good Butcher. I know that's a lot. In my mind, that's a lot. Actually, EvoGen is a fantastic one too. I do want to get that one too because I believe it's going to rocket. So again, if there is any kind of push up, I'm hoping so I can get out of some of these pennies and reallocate those funds to bigger, longer plays. Like EvoGen might actually just be leaps, right? I think leaps on that play would be phenomenal. But being said, NNDM looks fantastic. I do have a leap on Fastly. It is consolidating, which I like to see, it was selling off quite a bit there, but it's actually finally consolidating. Fastly could be a great one. I do have a leap in this. I don't plan on really adding to that. I think the leap is all I really wanted out of this because I think that correction that it had, I mean, you're looking at a $40 correction. So that being said, I think a leap is good enough for me. And then I think that one could just tag along with the market. Not looking at this one. High Tide, again, could be a great one. I love this play, the ALMM. I'm not going to lie. I might actually, a lot of the pennies, I do like them and I wanted to hold them through the year. So I might hold them. I don't have a lot of money allocated to them. I think I have other random plays that I would like to possibly get out. I think this Planet XF, XPLT I think I do like that. The fundamentals of this company, but ultimately I think what I want to do, I might actually liquidate this one and move it into one of these other ones that I have a little bit higher conviction in. Again, Planet 13, I'm looking for the pullback. Actually, I think I have an order set for 650 on this one. I do like that support. I did put that order in. So if it does come down, I like it because we have this solid support. It's already bounced out of here. And then we got the 200 support moving up. I think this establishes our new base for the year. So I am looking to get back to Planet 13. Again, you know my stance on the Very Good Butcher. These little plays here, I think it's just someone trying to get a better entry on these things, but the buyers are still there. Right. If this does come down, I think my next support here is at 420. I'll add more onto this actually. Looking for this actually next week, right? If we get news and then this changes over to the Toronto Exchange, all that other stuff I was talking about, I've come across more articles, right? They're trying to get into distribution. They're making moves on that fast. So they're trying to get their distribution set up even better. Being said, I still like Very Good Butcher for the year. That's one I want to hold on to for the year as well. This one, to be honest, I do like it. So if we get some parabolic move out of this with what I've my fundamentals is based around. If this makes some parabolic move to $10, $15, I will possibly get out at that point and reallocate those funds to something like a Tesla or something on a pullback, a Planter, ultimately, right? But I think in the short term, I like the very good butcher. I could liquidate some of that and still hold on to that, but ultimately, I do like that play. I do like Evogen. Ultimately, out of all these four pennies, ALLM is one I do really like as well. That's becoming one of my favorite pennies. Actually, these for these 5 pennies right here are my favorite penny stocks in the moment. This PLT, the essentially plant-based of Amazon, it's okay, but I think my conviction is much higher on the other ones. Riot, Riot's going to be gone. I didn't get the pullback on this guy. It's all good. I still have an investment in Bitcoin, Ethereum, so I'm okay on that side. CRISP, again, genomic space. I try not to get too much in the genomic space because I think its most parabolic moves are going to happen in 5 years. I think in the short term, again, growth stocks, MJ space, I think 3D printing, all that stuff right now in the current state is going to be huge, right? And going to make bigger moves in the coming 5 years. The genomic space, I think, will after that point, right? I think that baton will be handed to the genomic space at that point. And at that point, it will accelerate even more than what it is. Again, if you want to get in on the ground room floor, by all means do that. That is your call. Again, this is not financial advice. Let's see what else we got here. Energies, kind of upset about these energy plays have been popping, and I haven't been in them. NIO, I'm not playing that guy. I mean, that's a hit or miss, right? Go with in my opinion, go with number one right now. That is proven. Tesla in the US. You're going to have this huge influx of money. Energy play, purely Tesla. You want to go with NIO, all those other ones just for pure EV play. You're probably going to get some kind of parabolic move, obviously, if Tesla does, but I think Tesla is still going to be the big moneymaker for everybody. Bluebird, it looks like that was a dip buy on Bluebird. NGA, I did hold a position in this, looking for the acquisition, which should be towards the end of this week. And looking for possibly that $40 mark. We'll see what happens on that one. Again, if that one hits, I'm liquidating that one, moving assets out of that one as well. Bips had a parabolic move overnight. Actually, that was crazy. I didn't even notice that move. Space, I mean, there's a lot of, everything is setting up. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of great setups. I mean, I could go through all the setups, but there's a lot of things leading into this week. I think this whole sideways week was leading into this. So it's, again, finding your high conviction trades. Again, you guys know where my focus is at this point. I know I'm kind of all over in this video, but I think the beginning of this video was what was most important. This Leslie play is purely a play off of what is going on in Texas. This could be a parabolic move, cashing in on essentially the historic event that just happened in Texas. So if that interests you, you can check out this play and why that is. I commend you to do your due diligence on that one. Tilray, I'm in this one for the year for I got a leap in this one. I like that play for the year. There's that one. Tap. Again, if you want to play this one's okay. Again, I am aiming for my high conviction stocks at this point, kind of seeing what's going on. And now that I kind of unfolded my plan, because, WWE is going to rocket. I am in leaps in this because I feel like this one's going to rocket this year. Again, at this point, buying the leaps, purely fundamental again. Not in that one. Still in this one. Again, I've seen some red on this one, but it's all good. I haven't added this. I think I did add a little bit. I did average down a little bit on this one. Not a lot. Again, trying to reallocate the money somewhere else, but this one will be huge. I think, again, this will be, in my mind, right? Again, I haven't seen any rumors or anything like this, but the product that is being sold on this, I can just see this particular company being acquired by another company throughout this year. on what's going on, especially in the whole green movement and everything else. AMC, I do have a leap on this one for recovery. Again, acquisition news came out on Thursday, I believe. That's why we got this pump here. I think it's only a matter of time. It already looks like it's starting to curl and turn up. So all the EMAs are starting to play in together, it looks like here. So it looks like we're finally starting to make that move up. So AMC, I think, will be a good play this year as well. Again, leaps, ones I have small conviction on that I think will make quite the parabolic move. I want to keep a leap in it if I can. Right. Again, I don't want to be too spread out. I want to focus again on my high conviction stocks, not take away from too much from them. But I also want to cash in some of these other ones as well. Baidu is crazy. Still rocketing. Way later than Baidu. I didn't know much about Baidu. I should have looked into that more, but it's okay. Let's see here. IQ, POW, $10, man. I would have just kept that leap. I was in leaps. I wasn't even a leap. I think it was good till September, but man, the thing would have paid pretty well. It's all good. Play it out. It played out, and this is where fundamentals. This is where fundamentals dominates the technical side, right? Because technically, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. You don't see these moves. Fundamentally wise, you see these moves coming before they come. This is why I think. I'm starting to shift more to a trend and fundamental trader, however you want to define that as an active trader, which you can essentially define me as, right? I think that's what I have more become and more generated in towards. I do, again, like technicals to a point, but again, you have to understand that the fundamentals play a bigger picture into all of these things. All right, I think. Well, all right, guys. Like I said, I think I laid a lot of information out. This video is really long. I don't want to make this too long. There's a lot of great information. If you guys did enjoy, please remember to like and subscribe. Also, if you guys let me know what your high conviction trades are. I want to know what your high conviction trades are. If you believe in the fundamentals I've gone over in this video, if you've made it all the way this far, please leave down your high conviction trades. I want to know if this parabolic move happens this year, and what I believe is going to happen plays out the way it does. What are you looking for? Leave that down in the description below. But thank you guys, and until next time, I will see you guys later.